Hey, G Kline, listen, I think one of the most formidable obstacles for a young man's growth is thinking about a woman having a period. I mean, what I love about Judy Blume's approach to this is that it's a matter of it's like festive. I mean, these girls these girls cannot wait. And I always thought, oh my gosh, they must hate the thought. The way she approaches it is one of celebration.
Judy Blume does a wonderful job of portraying characters who are always trying to grow up a little too fast.
Yeah.
And I think that's very true of a lot of us. We all want it.
Yes.
When we're 11, oh my God, life is horrible. When we get to 15, it's going to be so much better. When we're in middle school, we can't wait to get to high school. When we're in high school, we can't wait to get to college.
Yeah.
The same thing, and Judy shows that girls are going through the same thing, but in a slightly different way. Now, I first read the book when I was probably about 12 myself, and I was, again, not the target market for the book, but what I got from reading the book is, oh my God, the other half of my class is not a bunch of alien species. They are people too. They're a little different from me, but they are going through problems I can barely understand, just as I'm going through problems that they might not completely understand.
Yeah, and I think in the end we'd have to say this is a universally acceptable and appreciative piece of fiction that has profound effects for 50 years.
50 years.
Yeah.
50 years we've been waiting for this movie
Yeah.
to come out.
Now, Ken, talk to me about one of the males, which I find very interesting, the teacher.
Oh yeah. Now the teacher's got a little bit bigger part in the movie. He's a first-year teacher. He's fresh out of from college, and he's got some anxiety about it. He's not so sure of himself, and that's also plays well with the other characters who have anxieties as well. And he's trying to find his own voice, and he's trying to find himself. And he gives, of course, Margaret the project of, maybe you should write your 1-year report about religion.
Yeah.
I doubt you could get away with that in school today. But yeah, he assigns her to talk about religion. And she's struggling because, of course, she comes from a two-religion family. Her father is Jewish. Her grandmother, of course, on her father's side is Jewish as well. And her mother was raised Christian, but now is probably not anything. And so she's having to decide now, what am I? In a lot of different ways, what am I? But religion is one of them. So throughout the course of the movie does a great job with this. She goes to temple, she visits a Christian service, she visits a Southern Baptist service, where she says, I'm not sure I understood what was going on, but I sure felt good.
Well, I loved the fact that just because she went to temple, she was Jewish.
Well, that's her grandmother talking.
I know
If you ask Margaret, she's going to tell you a very different story.
But I just love that. If you wonder how could families be conflicted about this, take a look at the way Kathy Bates approaches this.
Yes. Well, and when the Christian grandparents finally show up on the scene, it's almost war, as the Jewish grandmother and the Christian grandparents are both trying to say what Margaret is.
Yes.
And then Margaret finally has a voice of her own and stands up and says, I don't know what I am, but I know what I'm not. And I'm not any of this.
And you have to admit that Benny Safdie does a great job as the father.
He does a fantastic job.
Isn't it? He and McAdams are just a great pair.
Yeah, the father's a rather thankless role in this.
But
he's kind of a schlep.
Yeah.
But he's a very kind-hearted schlep. He's a good husband. This is one of the few Judy Blume novels where you've got two parents who are really great parents.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an exception to the rule for Judy.
I wanted to finish up on our teacher. In a kind of parallel path for him as he's learning. And
He's
Margaret's
learning.
And that he is a good person and going to be a great teacher is that he picked on this religion topic for her. Very smart. Because initially you would think she's not interested at all in doing that, and yet he knew how important it would be for her to attack this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a great teacher.
Everybody in this story is growing in one way or another.
Yeah.
All of Margaret's friends, the ones that pick her and the ones that she chooses, are all growing. There's the one character who is in the book, Lauren, who has matured much more quickly than everybody else. She's a head taller than everybody else.
Yeah, her body is developed
Her body
already.
is much more developed than everybody else's.
You just feel it for her, don't you?
And of course, you're getting the side of the story from Margaret's friends of because she's more developed, she's further along in her sexuality.
Right.
But when you finally meet Lauren, you find out, oh no. But you can see this coming. You almost want to shout at the screen as Margaret.
I wanted more of her.
Yeah.
And her interaction with Margaret. Definitely wanted more of that.
She is a point where Margaret really screws up. And this is what's great about Judy, is Judy allows her characters to screw up. But she allows her characters to make mistakes. She allows her characters to be human.
Yes.
And that's why we identify with them so well.
You mentioned the girls. I was fascinated with this little private club they had. and the firebrand, I think Nancy, is that Nancy?
That's Nancy.
And what a delightful role
Nancy's
for her.
the type A personality, yes.
And the minute she finds her, she brings her in.
Yeah.
The minute that they move to the burbs, she is just she's like some kind of a knight who saves our Margaret.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's going to be pretty grim stuff. But she pulls her out and she's just full of the devil. She's great.
She is fantastic, yeah. She is the opposite side of the coin, and of course, Nancy, as the story progresses, we find out she's not everything she's supposed to be. Her mother, of course, the PTA dominant alpha
They almost
mother.
went over the top with her.
Oh, almost.
I know.
But she is a character out of the book very much like that, and it's good that they kept her in the way that they did, because she's bossing around Barbara, Margaret's mother. Nancy's bossing around Margaret, and in the end, they turn out to be a point of growth for both Barbara and Margaret.
And bringing in that straight-laced lady is pretty much our vision of the way these moms of the PTA were. What I liked again, a moment I liked again, was when Barbara McAdams was able to face that down.
Oh, Rachel McAdams.
I'm sorry.
Rachel McAdams, yes.
When Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams is at the... Now, we don't want to give away too much, but I'm going to assume a lot of our readers have already read this book, maybe multiple times. But yes, eventually Barbara, Margaret's mother, has to mature herself. And she actually has to stand up for herself, finally.
Yes.
And she does. And it's a wonderful... It may be the high point of the end of the movie, really. I mean, we all know what's coming from Margaret, but Barbara has her great moment as well.
Yes, and in fact, you're saying the thing that I believe too, there's a lot of growth in the Simon ladies here, particularly.
Yes.
The three ladies in 3 generations are all growing and learning. And in fact, the Christian couple does too, but not as, we really get the Jewish side, I think, very strongly.
Well, through the grandmother, you get the Jewish side, but it's, again, there's an ambiguity about the religion that Judy brings in. Judy does not want to put her own perspective into any of this. She doesn't try to dominate the story with her own point of view. She keeps it very neutral, and this is what makes Judy Blume stand out from a whole host of other young adult writers, is that Judy knows how to create characters that are ambiguous enough that you identify with them, but at the same time, she doesn't try to guide you. She tries to allow you to find yourself.
Yeah, and most of the people in this film are good people who are just trying to make their way.
They're all individuals, and they all make mistakes. I mean, Nancy doesn't make that many more mistakes than Margaret, and Margaret doesn't make many more than Nancy.
Yeah.
There's a whole host of other comical
and we have
characters.
The boys.
We have the boys. We have the boy who's the young Fonzie type, who all the girls are attracted to.
Right. Who's gotten kind of a schlub. I mean, he's but yes, they are.
He's the one that he's the handsome one that all the girls are attracted to. We have Moose, the character that Margaret is actually attracted to.
Yeah.
And then we have, well, I forget his name, the character that throws the birthday party that none of the girls are
yes,
attracted
the dork.
to.
Yes.
Yeah, that is sort of the geeky character that has his own particular style, and he's true to himself.
He's good.
I can't fault that guy because he's actually got
He
his
has
own
the party,
personality.
he has the
Yeah, he throws his party.
Yeah, he's got glasses and he's overweight.
He's overweight.
Almost central casting.
But he's not a wallflower.
No, he isn't. He's like everybody else. He's trying real hard. And you can't help
And
but
I
like
knew
him.
in school, I knew guys just like this. They were not the most attractive kid in class, but they had personality
What we
to
used to
spare.
say, they build empires.
They build empires. They're going to go on and do something with their lives, and and they're going to overcome their adversities along the way.
G Kline, when you hammered me 2 months ago about seeing us, I didn't even have an idea that it was coming across the horizon, but you saw it,
Oh, yeah.
and you were absolutely right. I think you predict this as the best.
This is definitely going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor, if nothing else, because it's got Judy Blume's name on it. And I do want to point out Best Adapted Screenplay.
Right.
I would not be surprised if it gets at least one Best Supporting Actress nod too, either out of Rachel McAdams or Kathy Bates, possibly both. But the other thing I want to say while we're here is that we've waited 50 years for a Judy Blume movie. There's a couple of other Judy Blume books that are just as deserving. Forever comes to mind immediately. Wifey comes to mind. Forever takes us to the next stage in a girl's life when she's 17, 18, having her first sexual experiences. And Judy dared to write about this. Wifey takes it to an adult woman who's going through marital problems. And I would love now to see this door open. Judy has finally opened this door. I think there has been one or two other made-for-TV movies back in the 70s based on Judy Blume's books, but she's kept a very tight control because she wanted to have a final say in the script, and most studios will not allow an author to have any
even want him around.
Even Stephen King can't have final say on his movie scripts. But she wanted that, and she waited 50 years, and I think, boy, I think it paid off.
So the title, once finally
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
well worth seeing.
Definitely see it.
And
Definitely see it. And if you've got an adolescent girl in your family, take her to see it. And if you don't take her to see it, I guarantee you sooner or later she's going to find it herself. And this is a film that I think is going to be timeless. I think this is a film that people are going to be watching for many, many, many years to come.
And for some of our men in the audience,
go see it.
Yeah.
Go see it. There's no reason not to see it.
See what you missed out on.
I read Judy Blume when I was young. I read Forever, and reading Forever made me realize that girls don't have the answers either. So yeah, this is a movie. Don't miss this movie.